Mace Windu hit the edge of a traffic spire like a meteor, smashing durasteel and bone in the same brutal instant. The city's light spun around him as his body skidded, then hung, one hand locked to a cable line, fingers trembling, skin burned raw by lightning. He should have fallen again. He should have died, but the Force did not let go. He pulled himself into a maintenance hatch and collapsed in darkness, breathing like a wounded beast. His right arm was numb, his robes were ash. The smell of scorched flesh clung to him, and so did the memory, Palpatine's smile and Anakin's blade. Above, the Republic kept moving. Speeders screamed past, holoscreens flashed emergency broadcasts. And then, the words that stabbed deeper than any lightsaber. Jedi uprising foiled. Windu forced himself upright. He listened. He watched. Every channel repeated the same lie. Jedi betrayal, Jedi violence, Jedi treason. And at the center of it all stood the Chancellor, calm and holy, promising peace. Mace understood it in one cold moment. This was not a political crisis. This was a Sith execution written into law. He staggered through service corridors, avoiding patrols, avoiding open cameras. His lightsaber was gone, but his will was not. With every step, pain tried to slow him. With every breath, anger tried to blind him. He did not let it. Hours later, he reached a lower-level clinic and stole a med pack. A Bacta-seal hissed around his burns. Stems kept his heart steady. He stared into a cracked mirror and barely recognized the face staring back. Then his comlink, damaged, half dead, caught a fragment of transmission. Execute Order 66. Mace's blood ran cold. Not a rumor, not an accident, a command. He looked up toward the distant glow of the Jedi Temple, now dark against the night sky. And in that silence, Windu made his vow real. He would not strike from the shadows. He would drag the truth into the light. And somewhere above him, clone gunships turned, searching the levels below, closing in on a Jedi who refused to stay dead. Mace Windu stayed low, deep in Coruscant's underlevels, where the air tasted like metal and old smoke. Above him, the surface world cheered for safety. Down here, people only cared about food, credits, and surviving the night. That was why he chose it. No headlines, no Jedi banners, just shadows. He wrapped his damaged arm tight and traded his burned robes for a worker's coat. He kept his head down, but his eyes never stopped moving. Every corridor had a camera. Every transit stop had clones. Every clone looked the same. Clean armor, blank helmets, and permission to kill. Not suspicion, permission. He listened to public broadcasts through stolen data pads. The Chancellor's decree played on loop, polished and calm. Jedi attempted treason. Jedi attacked the Republic. The military acted to restore order. Windu's jaw tightened. He had seen chaos in war. This was not chaos. This was a plan. He followed the chain the way a Jedi Master followed the Force, step by step, cause to effect. The Senate still functioned, the courts still operated, the clone army still took orders, and every order traced back to one man who now held emergency powers that never expired: Palpatine. Windu found proof in small places: a transport clerk whispering about sealed warrants, a medical tech describing mass body tags marked enemy combatant, a slicer bragging that the temple's security feed had been edited before it ever hit the news. The Jedi had not just been killed, they had been rewritten. Mace's anger wanted a lightsaber. His mind demanded something sharper. He needed records, he needed names, he needed the exact words that made murder legal. So he broke into an old Senate service hub, a forgotten data junction used for maintenance reports. He forced the panel open with the Force, then plugged in a stolen access spike. Lines of code ran like blood across the screen, and there it was, buried under official language, a contingency order, pre-approved, signed years ago. Order 66 was not a reaction, it was a trigger waiting for a Sith's hand. Mace copied everything onto a small drive, his fingers steady despite the pain. Then the corridor lights outside snapped to white. Bootsteps, heavy, organized, clone patrol, close. Windu killed the screen, held his breath, and felt the cold edge of the Force, like the city itself had turned against him. The door began to open. The Senate service door cracked open, and white armor filled the gap. Windu moved first. He slammed the panel with the Force, bending the door inward just enough to jam it. Blaster fire erupted, lighting the corridor in sharp blue flashes. The metal screamed. Windu didn't stay to fight. He slipped through a side vent, dropped 2 levels, and hit the floor hard, pain flashing up his spine. But the data drive stayed in his palm. In the Undercity, he found a forgotten comm booth used by dock workers. He rerouted power, masked the signal, and did something he had never imagined. He reached out, not as a general, but as a survivor. Any Jedi, on any frequency, this is Master Windu. Only static answered at first. Then, faint, broken, trembling voices. A Padawan hiding in an alley, whispering, "They called us traitors." A knight on the run, saying, "The clones didn't hesitate, not once." And finally, a voice Windu recognized, Master Oppo Rancisis, barely alive, speaking from somewhere off-world. "Mace, the Senate issued warrants. They want us hunted like criminals." Windu's eyes narrowed. The Senate? Not just Palpatine? The Senate applauded him. They cheered his speech. They called it justice. The words hit like another fall. Mace had believed the Senate could be saved by truth, but truth meant nothing if fear had already taken the vote. Palpatine didn't need to hide his power anymore. He had wrapped it in law, stamped it with applause, and turned the Republic into a weapon. Mace pulled up a public feed. Senators stood behind the Chancellor, solemn and supportive. A banner read, "Emergency Security Act Extended." He understood the nightmare. Even if he exposed Palpatine, most of them would refuse to hear it. They would call Mace the last proof the Jedi were violent. A new message pinged his hacked channel, encrypted, sharp, urgent. "Mace, if you're alive, don't come to us. They're watching, they're waiting." And in that moment, Mace felt it, an unseen presence closing around the signal, tracing it back. The booth lights flickered. Outside, clone sirens rose closer. Somewhere above, the trap was already being set. Mace Windu didn't run toward the Jedi Temple. That would be a grave, not a plan. He ran toward the Senate. At dawn, Coruscant glowed like nothing had changed. Shuttles rose, traffic flowed, and the Republic acted normal while it buried the Jedi in silence. Windu moved through crowds with his hood up, posture bent, one arm held close. He looked like an injured worker. He felt like a weapon with one shot left. He reached a secure entry under the Senate district and waited for the moment the building shifted from night watch to day session. Guards changed, patrol routes reset. That small gap was all he needed. He slipped inside. The proof sat in a small data drive against his chest. Order 66 authorization, Senate warrants, edited security logs. But Windu knew data could be dismissed as forgery. He needed something living, something that could speak. So he took it from the Empire to be itself. In a maintenance bay, Windu ambushed a lone clone officer, slammed him into the wall, and held him there with the Force. The trooper's helmet clattered to the floor. Human eyes stared back, confused, trained, and afraid. "What did you hear?" Windu demanded. The trooper's voice shook. We received a direct order. Jedi are traitors. Kill on sight." "From who?" A pause, like a program resisting a question. Then the answer slipped out. "From the Chancellor." Windu felt the words lock into place like a blade. "You will repeat that. In the chamber." He bound the clone's wrists with a cable and marched him through service corridors towards the rotunda. Every step risked discovery. Every camera risked his face. But the closer he got, the more Windu understood. Daylight was not safety. Daylight was pressure. The Senate session began. Holo droids drifted. Senators took their pods. The Chancellor's platform waited like a throne. And then the door slammed open. Mace Windu strode into the chamber, burned, limping, alive, dragging a clone officer behind him. Gasps rippled through the room. Security reached for weapons. Windu raised the data drive high. "This is your Jedi uprising, senators. This is Order 66. Then he shoved the clone forward. "Tell them who gave the order." The clone swallowed hard and looked up at Palpatine's empty seat. The Chancellor was late, and the chamber doors began to seal. The Senate chamber doors sealed with a heavy thud, trapping Windu in full view. Hollow droids drifted closer, hungry for spectacle. Senators leaned forward in their pods, staring at a Jedi who was supposed to be dead. Then Palpatine arrived. His platform rose slowly, like a curtain lifting on a final act. He looked tired, wounded, almost gentle. His voice carried without effort. "Master Windu, you should not be here." Windu stepped forward, raising the data drive again. "You issued Order 66. You ordered the army to murder."
The trooper froze. Windu felt it. Not fear, not loyalty. Something darker pressing on the man's mind, squeezing his words into silence. Windu's voice rose. "Tell them, who gave the order?" The clone's throat worked. Then, flat and rehearsed, he said, "The Jedi attacked the Chancellor. We acted to defend the Republic." Gasps hit the chamber like blaster fire. Senators recoiled. A few pods drifted back as if Windu carried a disease. Palpatine spread his hands. "He has survived by hiding among you. He has stolen records. He has manipulated communication lines. He now stands here, armed with lies, trying to break the Republic with panic." Security troopers flooded the lower ring, weapons raised. The sound of charging rifles echoed off polished stone. Windu's grip tightened on the drive. This was the Sith's true power, not lightning, not blades, control. He turned in a slow circle, meeting eyes that once welcomed the Jedi. Now they watched him like a monster. "This is not justice," Windu said, forcing the words steady. "This is a coup." Palpatine's voice sharpened, just slightly. "Then surrender, Master Windu. Prove you are not what you appear to be." Windu saw the trap. If he dropped to his knees, he died quietly. If he fought, Palpatine's story became truth. And as the troopers advanced, Windu made a choice. He ignited nothing, and still prepared for war. The troopers closed in, rifles up, boots echoing across the Senate floor. Windu didn't ignite a blade. He didn't need to. His stare stayed locked on Palpatine, daring him to show his real face. Palpatine lifted a hand, calm. "Stop." The clones hesitated, waiting for the next line of the script. Then the Chancellor spoke to the chamber like a man offering mercy. "There is one who can end this without bloodshed, the hero with no fear." A side entrance opened. Anakin Skywalker stepped in. He wore new armor, darker than before. Not Sith robes, not Jedi robes, something in between. His eyes found Windu instantly, and the guilt hit him so hard he almost stopped walking. Windu felt it through the Force. Regret, fear, a war inside one man. Palpatine's voice softened. "Anakin, you saw his betrayal. Tell them what happened in my office." Anakin's jaw tightened. The room watched him like a verdict. Senators leaned in. Cameras hovered. The whole Republic waited for a single sentence. Windu spoke first, low and sharp. "You know what he is." Anakin's hands curled. He heard Palpatine's promises in his head. Padme safe, the war ended, order restored. But he also saw younglings. He saw the temple burning. He saw Windu falling because of him. Palpatine took one step closer to Anakin's line of sight. "This Jedi would tear down everything we built. You must protect the Republic." Windu stepped forward, ignoring the rifles. "Look at the clone. Look at the order. Look at your hands." Anakin's breath caught. He stared at the bound trooper, at the fear in the man's face, and something cracked. Not anger, truth. A truth he had been running from since that night. His voice came out rough. "Chancellor, why won't you let him speak?" For the first time, Palpatine's smile faltered, just a flicker, and Windu knew he had it. One more push, and the chosen one might finally turn. Then Palpatine's eyes hardened, and the chamber lights dimmed like a storm arriving. The chamber lights dimmed, and the air felt heavy, like thunder trapped indoors. Palpatine's eyes stayed on Anakin, pushing, pulling, demanding obedience without saying the words. But Windu had already done the damage. Not with a blade, with presence, because the galaxy had seen him. The holodroids were still recording, and even as Senate security tried to shut feeds down, clips leaked out through private channels. A living Jedi Master, a bound clone, a data drive raised like a verdict. For millions of citizens, it was the first moment that didn't match the official story. On worlds far from Coruscant, senators received panicked calls from home. Trade guilds demanded answers. Planetary militias asked why the traitors looked like victims. In the mid-rim, a few systems announced they would review their loyalty until the Chancellor faced an inquiry. That word, inquiry, hit Palpatine like a grenade with a slow fuse. Inside the chamber, the Senate began to split. Some pods drifted toward Windu, cautious but curious. Others pulled back, shouting for his arrest. Old allies of the Jedi stayed silent, terrified of being next. And the clones? The clones hesitated. Not all of them. Most held formation, weapons trained, waiting for the kill order to repeat itself. But a few lowered their rifles by a fraction. A fraction was enough. A fraction meant the programming wasn't perfect. The bound clone officer looked at Anakin again. His voice shook. "Chancellor, we were told they'd resist, but he's not attacking." Anakin's jaw tightened, as if the words physically hurt. Windu watched him, reading the tremor in his breathing. Palpatine sensed it too. He raised his voice for the Senate, loud and sharp. "This delay ends now. The Jedi will be taken." A red alert pulsed along the walls. More troopers poured in. The exits locked. Senators cried out as their pods froze in place, held by security override. Windu's eyes widened. Palpatine wasn't just arresting him, he was arresting the Senate. Windu leaned toward Anakin, voice low. "This is your last chance to see him clearly." Anakin took a step, unsure which direction. Then a single blaster shot rang out from the upper ring. A senator screamed, and the chamber erupted into chaos. Blaster fire turned the Senate rotunda into a storm of red light. Senators screamed as their pods locked in place. Clone squads formed a tight ring below, rifles sweeping the chamber like searchlights. Windu moved with purpose, not panic. He yanked the bound clone behind a pillar, using the stone as cover, then slammed the data drive into a hollow port near the central platform. A blue projection burst upward, official seals, dates, Senate signatures. Order 66, emergency warrants, edited temple footage tags. The evidence hovered over them like a ghost that refused to stay buried. Palpatine's voice cut through the noise. Lies, fabricated by a desperate Jedi. Windu stepped out, hands open. Then face a simple test. He stared at Anakin, and his tone changed, harder, almost personal. "You felt it in his office. You feel it now. He is the Sith Lord." Anakin flinched as if struck. The chamber went quiet in patches, like the galaxy itself holding its breath. Palpatine raised a hand, calm again, too calm. "Anakin, you know what the Jedi are. They fear what they cannot control." Windu didn't argue politics. He attacked the mask. He reached into the Force and ripped at Palpatine's careful veil, the same dark shroud that had hidden him for years. For a heartbeat, the air warped. The hololights flickered. Senators blinked, suddenly nauseous, as if they had been staring at the sun without knowing it. A few shouted, "What is that?" Others whispered, I feel cold." Palpatine's smile vanished. His eyes burned yellow for an instant. That instant was everything. Windu pointed at him like a judge passing sentence. "There, senators, you have seen him."
Clones hesitated, just long enough for doubt to bite. Some rifles lowered, others snapped higher, confused by conflicting orders and a fear they were never trained to name. Palpatine's voice turned razor thin. Enough. The air exploded with invisible pressure. Pillars cracked, pods shook, and Windu realized Palpatine wasn't trying to win the Senate anymore. He was about to slaughter it. Windu lunged forward toward the Chancellor, knowing the next seconds would decide the Republic's future.